Welcome to MalicProductions. I'm Malik. I make games. This is a game about a really bad guy that you can either kill or forgive. You see here, there's some bits about prior games in like the July kind of game blitz that I did where I tried to make 5 games through July. This is game number 4 on that particular list. Almost pulled that off, but that's neither here nor there. You're still sleeping in the back rooms. These are sort of the watery back rooms. Ice landed on 9 though, kind of a reference to Cat's Cradle. So it's all iced up. Here's some cool lights. They drip down. There's me. Say hi. Hi me. There's some cooler, like other cool lights through the wall over there. Kind of just light that visual. I think I could have expanded that a little bit more, made it a little bit bigger. Ah man, this game. There's 4 more of me for some reason. This corner, round in a corner. This game was, I think it like feels like more of a letdown than it actually is because of the fact that I didn't finish game number 5. Here you see like a little right-hand hallway, kind of a sly, so subtle as to be borderline incomprehensible nod to the right-hand tunnel turn in Half-Life 2 Episode 2's developer commentary, where they talk about a playtester making the same turn for 20 minutes straight and just walking in a circle, so they cut a turn from the game in the caves. That was, unironically, I was thinking about that when I was making that little right turn there. Here's where you enter the spaceship from the back rooms. The idea being that, like, the back rooms that as I was using it was like this infinite sprawling like narrative interface that could connect to any story, so to speak. And so this particular story was the story of Ozymandias. This was Ozymandias's telling of his own story, what he was all about. And he was about this sort of endless just causing havoc, ruining untold numbers of lives. And a lot of it stemmed kind of just from this idea of like I wanted to make a hedge maze in space, which it's kind of a straight path through this quote unquote maze, so I kind of brushed that off. I think my idea was that like Ozymandias wants to showcase these terrible things that he has created and how they have wreaked havoc upon the universe as this sort of braggadocious, dying desire to be not necessarily like understood, but to have his horrors witnessed by one of the few that have escaped his wrath by virtue of you being a player coming from this backrooms dimension where his torment and destruction has not really reached. So here you've got these, and of course here, the video is all busted. The video is all busted, and I almost don't think this would be a proper video on Space Without Adventure if it didn't have its ridiculous hiccups like that of the lost footage and then like the lost recording and then all this jazz. This game was kind of in a way stillborn. I really am not proud of how this game turned out. I had like much larger ambitions for it. I thought it was going to look much more fascinating. I do like some of the visual elements of it, but it's I think the game of the 3 games that I managed to pull out in July, or the 4 games that I managed to pull out, 3 other games, 4 games total, I managed to pull out for July. This is the game I don't want to say like ashamed of. Ashamed of feels just so excessive in this context. It's more that I just dropped the ball. There was like I said, there were lots of bits I liked, like the just the general audio vibe for Ozymandias, like the vocal delivery I managed to pull off, like with the reduced audio quality effect. I like how that turned out. the actual like look of a lot of the sort of space station was kind of neat, but I didn't really get to. I don't think I did a good job of selling that it even was a space station, given how many earth tones there were, because it looks like it's like in this big stone structure, and like there's this computer room before it, and then like after it you've got like these metal ducts, but it all feels very, I don't know, tacked together in a way that a lot of my previous games and hopefully a lot of my future games don't quite feel. I want to go for like a more cohesive world in that respects. So yeah, I think non-cohesive world, non-cohesive story too is like another problem I feel like I had with this one, where it's like at the end you get to choose between jumping on his head or jumping on like another button. Didn't really like sell even which button did what. And then like the narrative gets sort of twisted around, where I'm thinking like, if you spare this guy, if you spare this monster, Ozymandias, now he goes and undoes his damage and helps countless worlds in ways that could hardly be imagined. And that just seems contrived, given that he's on his deathbed. It seems very contrived. And then like it even gets more kind of contrived and meta when you do jump on him, and it turns out that it's not actually Ozymandias who you're killing, but the actor playing Ozymandias in the narrative that I laid out. The idea being that it was like actually this actor willing to give their life for depicting this character. And that's just kind of silly, isn't it? What do you think? I think that's kind of silly. And not only is it kind of silly, I put all of the narrative weight of that reveal on like a single title, like end card image. Come on. That's a lot. That's a lot of weight to put onto a single image edited in MS Paint narratively. You need at least 2 images to pull off something like that, I would say. Two cards of credit lines. I know originally in this video I had spoilers for what Ozymandias looks like, but I'm going to just say you can play the game. You can play the game if you can play the game in your browser in like less than the time it would take to watch this video if you like really booked it and ran the whole way there. So I'm no longer going to spoil Ozymandias' look. I'm actually, that's another thing. I am proud of how that model turned out. I'm still kind of getting the hang of Blender. I've only really been poking at it really softly for like a year, and only really recently been trying to go harder at it. So I think it's one of those things, like I am so torn about this game because I'm not proud of how it turned out. But again, how bad should I feel about making this kind of narrative intensive game in under a week and flubbing it? You know? How bad should I really feel about that? I think it would I think it's like silly to feel that bad about it, especially because I think so much of the animosity I feel towards this game comes from like beyond like its mistakes, its blemishes. I think are, and like I've touched on this before, but I'm still kind of processing it. I kind of try to, I think with like a lot of my videos, the only way I could possibly keep up with like a weekly upload schedule, that I'm shooting for, is going to be like I'm trying to like process these sorts of things in video format by like just kind of thinking about them out loud. And so in regards to this, I think I summed it up pretty well when I said, and I don't know if it's even in this recording or if it's in like the lost recording, but that's neither here nor there. That's here. That's where. Where was I? Oh yes. Blemishes for Space Without Adventure. Crazy, goofy aha highlighted. Like, emphasized by the fact that I didn't finish that 5th game. And I feel bad for not finishing that 5th game. So the 4th game just feels like missed opportunity compounded with missed opportunity. But it was still a crazy project, trying to finish 5 games in like a month. So yeah, I think closing thoughts on Space Without Adventure, because I don't see the point in dragging this on any longer than it needs to be. I'd recommend playing it, even though I'm not too proud of the work I put into it. I do think there are elements of it that are certainly worth attention. Just the idea of the character himself, and just like proudly showcasing all these terrible items that he's constructed to do all these horrific things. It's like a glimpse into a villain it's like those speeches that a villain gives, taken to its like logical conclusion of like, oh, he's not just giving a speech, he's literally arranging like a museum for you to walk through as he discusses his exploits in detail. I like it. I like that core idea. I think I could have done more with it, and that's what feels so bad. So it feels so lackluster. But hey, maybe I'll pick that theme or concept up in more detail some other time in the future and run with it more. Maybe someone else will. Who knows how memes work. Closing Patreon shill mode activated. If you want to help me acquire food and housing and water and phone bill and maybe even, goodness gracious, health insurance, I got all these things available in Patreon. You can literally, if you spend enough money, I will make a game for you in a week, and it'll probably be a lot better than this one too. If less is more your bag, you can get Easter egg rooms, you can get big names and credits, you can get whole alternate endings that you can add to my games in the future. I'm going crazy with the things I'm giving away on Patreon. Are you kidding me? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know what? I'm gonna ruminate. I'm gonna go in the other room and I'm gonna ruminate on the couch. I'm gonna just think for a little while about if I want to say anything else. All right, so I have just reflected for some amount of time, and yeah, think I'm done thinking about Space Without Adventure. I think I've pretty much said or thought all the things there are to think about it, besides of course the things that the audience might think about it. But it is not the artist's responsibility to think those things. To a different end though, I think technically, just in general, and this is kind of approaching my mindset towards these types of videos that I'll continue to be producing as I make games, I think these are more like, less like making of videos and more like post-mortems. They're like looking back at what was made rather than showcasing what is being developed in real time. I don't think I quite gel with that approach, but who knows? Who knows what the future will hold? New videos every week, so who knows where that'll be in a couple of weeks. I know next week I'm going to be focusing video content on the horror game that I hope to have released by October 31st, so look forward to that, gamers. Malik out.